Congratulations. My goodness. This
Whirlwind.
summer, you hit some lows of some lows. There were times when viewers were like, Victor, get her out of there. We cannot watch this anymore. But now that you're out and see how loved and supported you are, I mean, you've got Lay's talking to you, you got Janet Jackson commenting on your Instagram. How does this now shape what you went through in the house?
You know, coming into the game, I always knew that I wanted to play a game where I could do something to vindicate how Black women have been treated in the game over the course of the history. And I knew potentially that it could get very ugly, but I was very hopeful that it wouldn't, just because I have a pretty bubbly personality, I like to think. But day one, I was targeted very heavily. And yeah, I went through the lowest of the lows. But I also know that that's not different than the experience that many women, particularly women of color, have in professional experiences. So for me, as difficult as it was important that I had that larger why, that I understood that unfortunately I wasn't alone, but there was a reason why I could become victorious. And there was a lot of times where it did not go possible to be victorious, but at the very least, I wanted the world to see the point that I was going to make, because if you say it, it's not always received, but when they see it undeniably in front of them, that's when things might be able to change. Now, thankfully, it ended up working out where I was able to create strong relationships and let people see me for who I am in the house. And you know, the check doesn't hurt.
Yeah, right. Well, speaking of, we really did see an evolution, you know, especially with Indy and Jasmine, who went from hating on you to supporting you. How did you make that happen?
I think it's more about the relationships I was able to have outside of them. I knew that if I were to just sit with them and talk with them, it would feel disingenuous. It's kind of when you know you have conflict with somebody and they're very strong personalities, sometimes it's like two sides of the same magnet. They're just going to keep pushing apart. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was important to build a chain of a network that could get closer to them. And I had more genuine connections with other people. And thankfully, I had other people who were able to vouch to them on my behalf that I'm not the monster that they thought I was. And it's funny because, like I said, when I put Indy on the block, she and I are so much more similar than she assumed. And we're a lot closer now. And the same with Jasmine. So I'm glad we had the opportunity to kind of work through those kinks and we can be on the other side now.
Speaking of when you put Indy on the block, that first HOH took us on a journey. You had a long list of people you didn't want to nominate. You were open to almost every crazy idea that Joseph suggested, including possibly putting him up. Why was this HOH so hard?
It was chaotic because I had wild different types of relationships with everybody. I finally had a solid alliance that I felt really good about, and we had 3 moving targets that could have changed depending on the circumstances. I had other promises that I made to people just because of how I wanted to play the game with Indy and Alyssa. They were my former besties at the time, but I also just wanted to extend some goodwill to them. I wanted to push forward the game of the girls. And even if I was outside their alliance, I wanted to do something to push that agenda forward, because that's why I came to play this game. But, you know, when you've got different circumstances and different personal reasons and different reasons that are better for the alliance, I wanted to be the the people's queen. I wanted to make everybody in my alliance happy. And, you know, I had my personal vendettas that I put to the side because I wanted to push my alliance forward. And it's interesting that this ended up kind of being the breaking point of my alliance, because I really was trying to do what was best for everybody. But advice for the next HOH, just do what's best for your game, because your alliance will have to respect that whatever's best for your game is best for their game too. So don't worry about trying to make anybody happy. Just get out the person you really want to get out.
After Dire Fest and Joseph was evicted, you were told some lies about him. I mean, he's out. It's easy to just throw everything on him. Have you guys hashed all that out? And where do things stand with you and Joseph?
Joseph and I have had a lot of fun over the past couple of days, and we've actually gotten closer because of all the lies that came out about Dire Fest. You know, even if I didn't fully believe the lies, it was beneficial to my game to work with the people who were telling me the lies about him. And it's very painful to know that they went way too far with those lies and jeopardized just that friendship or whatever other type of relationship I might have with Joseph. But because Joseph is a very understanding and reasonable person, now that I know he's a lawyer, news to me, It's been really great to just very reasonably walk through everything, and there's no bad blood at all. I'm very happy to have him back.
Good to hear. Now, where was Joseph in your head and your heart during those last couple weeks with Monte?
That is a great question. It's a long 70 something days in that house, especially when
80 something.
82 days, but around the time when Monty and I started getting around 70 something. And at that point, I was just I really did believe that Joseph had at least said enough to burn my game up, blow my game up. And it was very painful. So understanding that maybe he really was the person that I was told, I can't let, I'm someone that just doesn't want to let men and their decisions impact my decisions. So mama got what she needed in the time, and we're outside the house now.
Your speech was epic, fire, historic, legendary. I mean, it felt like you were pulling pieces all season long. When did it start to come to you? How did you put that speech together?
Oh, that speech came together maybe a day and a half before, but it was easy because it was just my experience in the house. I wish I could take credit and say that every action I had with my game was intentional, but it really was just a matter of survival at all costs. And it came down to just the person that I am. I was able to make connections and plant seeds, but it's because I had to survive in the game. So the larger reason for me being in the game and my trail to get to the end was all that I felt like I had to share that could convince a jury to get me to be the ultimate winner. Now, I had no idea that no matter who I was sitting next to, the jury already decided that it was going to be me. That it still blows my mind that that's the case. But if I'm going to argue for my life next to someone that I thought was hands down easily going to be the winner, I'm gonna give you a speech. And if there's one thing I'm gonna give you a speech this summer.
That's right. Well, we loved it. I was actually with Azza when she saw it for the first time, and she was emotional.
I've seen that video. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people were. I was personally standing on my chair and cheering. Now, we were really hoping that you were going to get Renaissance this summer, and you finally did. Now we need to know, do you have a favorite song? What is it?
Yes. My theme song, my anthem, Heated. Got a lot of haters. I need a fan off. Cool down. I'm heated. I used to go in my room and just put those headphones on and blast it, because I swear you walk out of that HOH room when you're by yourself and it's like going to war. You just don't know what's going to come at you. And when I could finally retreat, let it all out, I would blast Heated and just let everything seep out of my body and cool down. So that is the anthem of the summer. Put that on high volume, please.
Well, I can't thank you enough for everything you did this summer for, so many different people. It was truly a pleasure to watch you and to get to speak with you today. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I can't wait to talk to you again in the future. I just gotta say, in terms of Turnerisms, your top is super mega bussin'.
Thank you. It's actually a dress.
Oh, good dress.